Hello, welcome to CIS115 Online. My name is David Milazzo. I'm your instructor for the course. This is basically what an Excel sheet looks like. Just to get started here, we're going to go over some basics. And if you know a little bit about Excel already, I apologize in advance. There's a lot of definitions and everything we're going to go to in the beginning, but it will be better for you later on. So first of all, when you get into Excel, all of these at the top, these are called tabs. So the File tab, the Home tab, the Insert tab, Page Layout, Formulas, Data, Review, View, Developer, and Team tabs. These can be edited and changed, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the course, or even if you take CIS118. 118 is Intermediate Spreadsheets. Currently, right now, you're in Introduction to Spreadsheets. Give a little bit of definitions too. In addition to these being called tabs, there's something called a name box, and it's right here. If you scroll over it, you can see name box pops up. That happens very often with all of these, actually, all of these locations, whether it be cells or groups or anything like that. If you scroll over it, it will either give you the name, or sometimes it will give you a name and, if possible, a shortcut key. So it's kind of a nice little feature here. I'm going to open up a first file here. I'm going to open File, New, and we're going to look at blank workbook, just so we can have some of these pieces inside of here. So inside of this, we have a name box, and the name box tells you what cell you're in. So right now it says A1, and that's because I'm in A column 1 for the row. If I wanted to type in G6, I press enter, I get to column G, row 6. Makes it easy. This right here is called the formula bar. The formula bar is where you type in any of your formulas, your equations, anything you want to type in. And when you type in equations, you need to put an equal sign first. That's letting the computer or the program know, I want to get an actual answer. What does this equal? So if I put 4 plus 4, for example, because I have the equal sign in the front, it's telling the computer, please do this calculation so I can get the answer. What does this equal? And now I press enter, I get 8. This is different is if I put 4 plus 4 and I press enter, it just says 4 plus 4. We didn't tell the computer to do anything. So that's what this course is all about, is you want to automate things and let the computer do the work for you. That's the benefit of it. Okay. So again, the formula bar is where you're going to do all those calculations. You can also access different functions and insert functions by this F of X button here, insert a function. We'll get to that later on. This right here is called a worksheet window. This grid is called cells. That's why it's called Excel. These are all different cells. Okay. The cell address is its coordinate. We already talked about that. So for example, this 8, this would be in G6. The cell coordinate would be G6. Okay. You could see that there's a little green rectangle around these, and this right here is called the active cell. Okay, you could have multiple active cells. If I click hold and drag, you would get multiple active cells, and that's okay. And what you can do with that is changing backgrounds or fonts or fills or things like that. So that's whenever you have this green outline, that tells you what the active cell is. At the bottom, these are called sheet tabs. Right now, I just have sheet 1. If I want to add more, I can press a plus, and I get to sheet number 2, sheet number 3, and I keep adding more and more and more. Okay. There's also at the bottom scroll bars. So if I can scroll here, you can see I'm increasing in the alphabet all the way to Z, and when I get to Z, it doesn't stop. I can continue to go beyond that. You can do hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of columns. After AZ, you go to BA, BB, BC. You can do hundreds of columns, and you can do thousands upon thousands of rows. Okay? Just to give you an idea, we can do, say, BZ, 1589, and it will bring me down to 1589 for the rows, and column BZ. Okay? If I ever want to go back, I type in A1, and I'm right back to the beginning at least. That's a benefit. Okay, so again, these are called sheet tabs. We can increase them if we choose. If you put one too many, you could right-click and delete. Okay, we'll get more into those things another time. The status bar is on the bottom here. The status bar right here tells you what mode I'm in. And it's hard to see, but this right here is darker green, like a little green square around it. That's the mode I'm in right now. It's called the normal view. The normal view shows all cells that you see. This one right here is called the page layout view, and this shows you what it looks like if I were to print a page. So it shows margins or headers and footers. If I scroll to the bottom, foot is on the bottom, head is on the top, right? So here's the footer. Margins are in here. We could adjust the margins if we choose to, right? So that's the page layout view. And then this one here is called the page break view. And what the page break view does is I'll click on sheet 2 or sheet 1. What the page break view does is it shows what will be printed if you tried to print it. So right now, because the only writing I had inside here was in G6 and G7, it's going to at least get that square containing G6 and G7, and that's what's going to be printed on a sheet of paper. Okay? So those are the mode indicators. Okay. This top, all of this that you see right here, this is called the ribbon. Okay? The ribbon changes depending on what tab you're in. So for example, I'm in the Home tab right now. I get these are called groups. The font group in the Home tab, the alignment group in the Home tab, the clipboard group in the Home tab. Okay? If I click on Insert, I get different groups down here. Illustrations group, add-ins group, charts group. How do you know what goes where? It takes practice and takes time. Sometimes you can say, I want to insert a chart. I better go to the Insert group, and I go to the Charts group, or Insert tab and go to the Charts group. Sometimes it makes sense. Sometimes it's just until you know it, click and see where it is. Do I need it here? Do I need it here? Is it here? And you just kind of look and see what you need. It's okay in the beginning. It's fine. You will get used to it. At this point, what you're really looking at is different types of, again, tabs and different groups. Now, some groups you see in the little lower left-hand corner here, you see this little piece right here, and this is called a dialog box launcher. A dialog box launcher gives you more options, okay? So notoriously, we're going to be using dialog box launchers for these things here. The alignment group, for example, you open up the dialog box. This is called the format cells, by that name, format cells, dialog box. Inside of it, it has its own subset of tabs, numbers tab, alignment tab, font. So you could change a lot of these things inside of here that you could do in some aspects of this. And this also allows you to do things that you can't do in other pieces. For example, if I went to, let's go to the Insert tab, or I'm sorry, Page Layout tab, and I go to Page Setup, and I open up the dialog box launcher, and you'll see things like this as header and footer. I can add a header and a footer without having to scroll into that the page layout break. Okay, I could add them inside of here for custom footers. I can do a print preview inside of it here. I can change the margins if I choose this way. Makes it easy. Increase, decrease, type what I want, center it horizontally and vertically. Okay, the page itself, I can make it landscape or portrait. Currently, they're by default are portrait. Landscape is if you have a wider thing that you want to show. I can fit to page inside of here. That's all inside of this as well. So there's a lot of shortcuts you can do inside of these, we'll call them dialog box launchers. Okay. And again, if you want to change anything, I'm going to go back to normal view here. If I want to change anything inside of here, because I click into here, you see that's what's in the formula bar. If I click on G6, you see this is in the formula bar. The answer is G8. The actual formula, or how I got to G8, or the answer of 8 being 4 plus 4. The equals, again, tells me that it did a calculation for me. Okay? So if I wanted to change that, I can do one of two things. I could double click inside of here, and you see there's a little tiny cursor inside of this, and I can start arrowing over and changing what I want. Maybe I want 4 plus 8, and I get a 12 when I press enter. Or I can go, if I'm in here, I can go to the formula bar and say I want 4 plus 6 and change it in the formula bar. And you can either press enter or press this check mark here, and now I get 10. Okay, those are different places that you can actually do it in. But the big key is if you want an answer in the formula bar, you must put the equal sign first. If you do not do that, you will not get an answer. Okay. Interesting things about this is you can also, I'm just putting random numbers here. We can also do a lot of things such as sum or difference. Sum is the proper terminology for addition, and difference is the proper terminology for subtraction. So if I wanted to say equals the sum of, and you open up parentheses this way, it makes it a little bit easier here. We say I want the sum of number 1, comma, this one, comma, this one. And notice how I'm not retyping these numbers in again, okay? I'm clicking on the cells, and now they have cell names. I'll close my parentheses to close it up. I'm using all of these names inside of here. So whatever's in D5 plus D6 plus D7 plus D8 and plus D9, it's going to add all these up because I said use the sum of these things. And what's more so is I said, hey, do the calculation because I have this equal sign here. So when I press enter, I get this answer here. Now, if I changed any one of these, say 146, notice how that changed from 267 to 367. I'll do it again up here. Change this to 174, and as soon as I press enter or the check mark, this thing should go another 100 higher, or 467. Now if I look at the formula, again I checked out the formula bar here, this did not change one bit. Not one bit. I'm still taking everything that's in D5, D6, D7, D8, and D9, and I'm adding them all together down here. This is what the smart piece of this computer program is doing for you. It is calculating for you. It is doing the work for you. You automate it to do it once, and no matter what happens, it will always use your directions for you. So you don't have to redo this stuff, and that's the best part about it. Okay? You want to get in the habit of doing that. Now, if I escape from there, I'm going to just delete that piece. I'm going to do something called auto sum. I'm going to show you that. It is over in the Home tab, all the way over here into the Editing group, and right up here it says Auto Sum. It's a summation symbol, okay? And if I click it, it says Sum, and it's guessing that I want to take all of these. And notice how it says D5 to D9. Well, I put commas in between them before, right? D5 with a colon to D9 means you're going to use everything from D5 through and including D9. So that's where this calculation comes in. So as soon as I press enter, it adds it up for me anyway. And again, you can always see this in the formula bar, okay? Not too bad, huh? One more thing I'll show you on this little video, and then we'll start another one. There's something called autofill as well, and there's a fill handle. So, oh, by the way, for adding and subtracting, I told you guys it's sum and difference. We obviously used addition here without using the sum formula. You can do that, and that's fine. In fact, you can also use the asterisk or the star in order to do multiplication. And you can do, I'll do 24 divided by 4, so you can use a slash to get division. Okay? So the asterisk for multiply, the slash for division, your typical plus sign for plus, and your minus sign for subtraction. Okay. Okay, so that last piece I wanted to talk about filling in, I'm going to put 2 here, 4 here. Actually, I don't even need that. Say I want to count by evens. I established a pattern. Go from 2, then to 4. They're positive numbers. I'm counting by 2s. That little tiny dark square in the corner there, it's called a fill handle. Grab the fill handle, and you get it, the little plus sign changes now. Grab the fill handle, click and drag, and it continues the pattern for you. It's very nice, okay? You can also grab all these things. I'm just going to move this real quick. You grab the edge to move it. You see a little four-way plus sign, I call it. That means you can move it. So this is another thing you can do too. But I'm just showing you guys, that's if you grab the edge, and if you grab the fill handle, you're continuing a pattern. Okay. Now, why is this going to be all 22s? Because I grabbed 22. Whoops! I grabbed 22 only, and that was it. It does not know a pattern. If I grab 20 and 22, and I grab this down, it's going to say, "Oh, you're going to continue to count by 2s. I will do that for you." Okay. All right.